so well today. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video and welcome back to Molli-Ween. For today's video I have the spooky Halloween tag and I found this on the blog called bloggingwithdragons.com. I'll have this exact link to this portion of their blog down below if you want to do the same video. Please let me know if you do down below because I want to watch yours. Starting off, I have not seen these questions, so I don't know what is about to be asked. So starting off with number 1 is favorite horror or Halloween themed song. So that's a really good question. I actually have a Halloween playlist on Spotify. So I grew up listening to the Rocky Horror Picture Show soundtrack, which is one of my favorites. But I do really love Ghosts by Michael Jackson. If you have not listened to that song, I highly recommend. And I would also recommend watching the music video because it's pure art and I love MJ, so that's a really good one. Number 2 is name something you wouldn't want to run into in a dark forest or in an abandoned building. Either Tim Curry's version of It the Clown or specifically the boogeyman from Don't Look Under the Bed, the Disney Channel original movie. If you know, you know. Number 3 is have you ever used an Ouija board? I have, and it's been many years since I have, but I've used one about 3 times. So we actually used to own one and my sister and I did like our own little like seance in this room that I'm filming in right now too. It makes me so uncomfortable, but yeah, we did it when our parents went out for a walk because they would go for a walk after dinner every night, and so we're like, this is the time, and I was like 8 and my sister was in high school and we just went for it, and it spelled out Elvis and we both were like bickering back and forth. Like she was like fully convinced I was the one that spelled that and I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. That was the first time. Second time, my friends and I like made our own with like a notebook. And then the third time, my friend and I brought one to a cemetery and a spider fell on top of it. So we're like, it's a sign, and we both left. And that was when I was in high school, I think, because I was driving at the time. So must have been my junior year of high school. Never again. I do not want to ever touch one again. Number 4, favorite horror monster or villain. This person's answer is good. They said Samara from The Ring or the woman from The Grudge. Both are extremely scary. I never even seen those movies, but I know what they're talking about. No thanks. I guess like villain wise, I would have to say Ghostface because it changes every movie and it's scary that that many people are so angry and have like ties to Sydney, and it's crazy. So that movie has that whole series has twists and turns, so I would go with Ghostface. Number 5 is what is the creepiest thing that's ever happened to you while you were alone? So I haven't shared this, I don't think, yet on my channel. I do have my Spooky Story Sunday series that's on my channel. I have a playlist if you want to get your fix of scary stories, but this one I think is just because it's so small. It wasn't really long enough for a video. I was home alone and I've heard these 2 before. It was in this room. 2 things in this room actually have happened. I was walking up into my room and I heard people talking in this room, but it was like muffled and it kind of sounded like it was coming from a television, but there's no TVs up here. And the TV was off downstairs, and again, I was completely alone. There was no radio on. So yeah, kind of sounds like, or it was coming from maybe like a radio, so like my whole like this. And it was between a man and a woman, and I even like opened up this window and like looked outside to see if like someone was in our yard or something, which I live in like a smaller farm town, so I'm like, who would even be outside my window at 2 in the morning? And no one was there. I've heard them outside my bedroom door before. It's not like they're bickering or anything, it just sounds like they're having a full-on conversation, but I can't make out any words they're saying. So yeah, that's probably one of the creepiest because it literally was so unsettling, and I just pretended like I didn't hear them and I walked into my room and I closed my door and went to bed. I was terrified. Number 6 is are you superstitious? I don't think so, but I do tend to do like knock on wood a lot. I don't like jinxing myself, so I guess would that count as superstitious? So, or like if I always throw spilled salt over my shoulder because of like practical magic, but yeah, I guess I'm 50-50. It just depends. 7, do you ever see figures in your peripheral vision? Yeah, I do. And sometimes I see like my old like passed on animals. I see them more than I do like people, but I feel like it's pretty common. 8, which urban legend scares you the most? I'm not super familiar with like all of them, but the one that comes to mind is Bloody Mary, just because something to do with like the mirrors and like you never know if someone's gonna like creep up behind you. Like That's so scary. And I did do a video about the legend of Bloody Mary for last year's Molli-Ween. It was actually my last video in the series. So if you want to like learn what I learned about Bloody Mary, then definitely check that out. But I would say that's probably the scariest. Number 9, do you prefer gore or thrillers? I like thrillers because some gore movies I just cannot handle. Like Trick or Treat, I was watching with my mom, the one from 2007. She doesn't handle gore very well either. We were both like turning around whenever like something would happen that was just a little too gross. And that movie isn't terrible in terms of gore, but it can be kind of nasty. I think it's more like the sounds that go with it. It's funny I say that because I do like the Scream movies like a lot. Like those are one of my favorite like thriller like horror movies, but I still have to look away when Casey Becker gets. It literally still gets me so scared when I watch that. Number 10 is, if you were dared to spend the night in a haunted house, would you do it? I would never do it, especially if I was alone. I think it would depend on if I was like with a group of people, then maybe I would. And like if it was like the Sally house or something like that, or even the Conjuring house, I think it'd be really cool to spend the night there. But I don't think I'd ever sleep. I think I would just like be awake the whole time. So I don't think I'd ever like lay in a bed or anything. I'd probably actively just like be ghost hunting or something the whole night. 11, do you believe in multiple dimensions or worlds? I do. I think I do. Not that okay, that sounds so funny that I'm like, I think I do. No, like I know that I do think that I do. What am I saying? Girl, what? I do believe in multiple dimensions and worlds because I just thinking that our world is the only one. I'm very open-minded. So I do believe that there's more out there, and like especially watching, I mean, if you're into like Marvel and stuff, there's like the multiverse, and then even in like Buffy, Anya talks about there being multiple worlds, like the world of shrimp and stuff. So I'm like, I don't know, I feel like there could be. What if there is a world that's only shrimp? You know, that would be different. 12, ever made a potion of any sort? When I was a kid, my friend and we had this cauldron and we would like make a potion out of like necklaces, and we put like lotion in with the necklaces. I don't know where we were coming up with this, but part of being a kid, I guess. 13, do you get scared easily? Sometimes. It just depends on what. Like if I'm going into a haunted house, I'm going there to get scared. So I guess it just depends. Jump scares get me the worst because obviously you're not expecting it. So I guess I would say yes. 14, have you ever played Bloody Mary? I did. I feel like this is also something that like I grew up in the early 2000s, and it's like we did have computers and we did have phones, but like I didn't have a cell phone until I was in middle school, and so my friends and I would just like made up our own fun, right? And I think part of that was stuff like this, and especially at sleepovers we would do it. 15, do you believe in demons or the devil? I do, because I feel like if there's paranormal stuff, then there has to be other things too. 16, you're home alone but you hear footsteps in your house, what do you do? Oh gosh, I don't even know what I would do. Isn't that bad? I think I would freak out first, but like also I have been in fight or flight situations before, and I pick fight over flight. So I feel like I would stand my ground. 17, if you got trapped in one scary movie, which would you choose? Maybe The Craft or like The Conjuring or something. 18, if you could only wear one Halloween costume for the rest of your life, what would it be? I would probably be something that would be like a classic. So I think I'd just go with a witch, because I think you could always change it up. And there's so many different witches, like from characters and stuff, from like Samantha from Bewitched or Marnie from Halloween Town. So I feel like there could be a lot of different vibes of that same costume. 19, would you ever go to a graveyard at night? I think I would, but not by myself, and I would obviously like pay my respects and stuff. 20, would you rather go to a Halloween party or trick-or-treating? I don't know. I have been to a Halloween party and I've gone trick-or-treating in the same night before, and I think I like trick-or-treating just because it's like there's so many fun like nostalgic memories with it. 21, in a zombie apocalypse, what is your weapon of choice? Ooh, that's a good question. A spiky bat like Steve Harrington in Stranger Things. 22, you're in a horror movie. Are you the first to die, the final girl standing, the comic relief, the skeptic, the smart one, or the killer? It'd be cool to be the final girl. That would be really cool. But I think that I would be like kind of like Randy, almost like a mixture of Randy and Sydney in like Scream. I think I'd be a mix of that, because like I would be like, this is stereotypical, like why is this happening? But then I would like want to put up a fight. 23, do you have to watch something happy after watching a horror movie to help you sleep? Yes. I would have to watch like some TikToks, or like sometimes I will like watch funny like cat videos or like funny animal videos, especially if it's a really scary movie that I know will like stick with me for a while. That's definitely something I do. 24, while watching scary movies, are you the person yelling at the characters, the person with their eyes covered, or the person who falls asleep? I'm a mixture between the person yelling and the person with their eyes covered, especially if it's a movie that I haven't seen before and then I don't know what to expect. I get really nervous about the jump scares. 25, are you the one who gets scared or the one who does the scaring? Probably a little bit of both. 26, what is your favorite scary book? Oh, that's a good question. So I've read some of Stephen King's books. I read It, and that was definitely interesting. I read that last year. It's over 1,000 pages, so it's definitely quite a hefty one, but it really didn't scare me. So I'm trying to think. One that really spooked me or kind of grossed me out is probably My Best Friend's Exorcism, and they also adapted that into a movie, so if you want to watch something and read the same thing, like, I'd recommend it. It's by Grady Hendrix, and Grady's writing is so much like a movie plot, and I think it was just really good, so I would recommend that one. 27, how old were you when you saw your first horror movie? Probably way too young. I can't remember what age, but again, way too young. 28, what was your first Halloween costume? So my grandma, she's made all of us grandkids scrapbooks, and there's of course some Halloween spreads, and one of the first ones that comes to mind is a ladybug, and my mom put like a little black nose. It was a cute little baby like onesie, and it was super fuzzy. And a second one that I remember is a Winnie the Pooh costume. So those are some that I remember. 30, what are you going to be for Halloween this year? So every year, of course, I have to dress up, and this year I decided to be Luna Lovegood. Last year I was Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, and the year before that I was Eleven from Stranger Things, and then the year before that I was a cheerleader from the movie Grease. I was like a version of Sandy, and all of those were really last minute and pieces that I found in my closet. So this year I actually like purchased a Ravenclaw robe because I am actually a Ravenclaw. I happen to have like a Harry Potter wand, and then I got Luna's like skepticals, like the little glasses, and I'm gonna just piece together an outfit underneath the robe from my own closet, and I'm gonna be Luna. I don't really know what my plans are for Halloween this year, but I thought it would be fun to have a costume at least. 31, if you could have a Halloweeny pet, black cat, owl, bat, rat, wolf, raven, what would you pick? So I do have a black cat, but I think it'd be really cool to have like a raven or something, like another version of a familiar. I think that'd be really cool, and then they could protect you and fly around and stuff. But yeah, that's all the questions. Again, I'll leave this blog link down below, so if you want to answer these for yourself or just see what the person wrote that has this on their blog, then you can go check that out. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Until then, shine bright and stay spooky. Bye!